Welcome, dear soul. Come, settle into this space, and let your breath be your guide. Feel the gentle rise and fall, the quiet rhythm that connects you to this very moment, to the earth beneath you, to the vast, unseen currents of existence. In our hurried lives, we often forget the profound simplicity of just being. We chase after experiences, achievements, and feelings, believing that our worth, our lovability, is tied to these external markers. We tell ourselves we must present a certain face to the world, perhaps even to the divine, a face of unshakable joy, of constant positivity. But what if this is a deeply ingrained illusion, a whisper of inadequacy that follows us even into our most sacred moments? What if the very essence of divine love is not contingent on the bright facade we sometimes feel compelled to maintain? This journey we begin today is an invitation to shed that burden, to embrace the full spectrum of our human experience, and to discover a love that sees us, truly sees us, in all our messy, magnificent truth. There's a cultural narrative, a subtle but persistent hum, that suggests true spirituality, a genuine connection to the divine, manifests as perpetual happiness. We see polished images, hear testimonies of unbroken bliss, and begin to believe that if we are struggling, if our hearts ache with a sorrow that seems too deep for words, then perhaps we are falling short. Perhaps our faith is weak, our connection severed. This can create a profound sense of isolation, a feeling that we must mask our pain, plaster on a smile, and pretend all is well, even when our inner world feels like a landscape of shadows. It's a heavy performance, isn't it? To feel the weight of the world, the sting of disappointment, the ache of loss, and yet feel pressured to radiate an unblemished joy. This pressure can be a cage, preventing us from experiencing the very grace we believe we are striving for. We might even internalize this, believing that God's love is reserved for those who manage to keep a perpetual smile, a testament to their spiritual fortitude. But what if this is a profound misunderstanding of the divine heart? What if the love offered to us is not a reward for emotional performance, but a foundational truth of our being, an unconditional embrace that welcomes us exactly as we are, in every season of our soul? Consider the great figures of faith, the mystics and the prophets, the saints and the everyday believers who have walked this path. Their lives were rarely marked by a constant state of elation. They knew profound struggle, moments of doubt, and periods of deep anguish. Yet, their connection to the divine remained, often deepening precisely in those challenging times. Their faith was not a shield against suffering, but a light within it. This script is born from the wisdom that acknowledges this reality, that understands the complex tapestry of human emotion and dares to suggest that divine love is not only present in our joy, but perhaps even more profoundly revealed in our vulnerability. We are often tempted to present an edited version of ourselves, not just to others, but to the divine. We curate our thoughts, filter our feelings, and present a highlight reel of our spiritual journey. We think, if God could see my true state, my doubts, my weariness, my moments of despair, would that love still hold? This script is an exploration of that very question, a gentle dismantling of the idea that we need to be anything other than authentically ourselves to be worthy of love. It's about recognizing that the divine sees beyond the surface, beyond the carefully constructed facade, to the core of our being, the part of us that longs, that yearns, that simply is. It's about understanding that the love we seek is not a prize to be won through perfect emotional control, but a gift that is already ours, a constant, unwavering presence that holds us even when we feel most lost. This exploration is an invitation to a more honest, more courageous form of faith, one that doesn't shy away from the difficult, the painful, the inconvenient truths of our inner lives. It's about realizing that the divine doesn't need us to be happy to love us. This isn't a license for despair, but an emancipation from the exhausting burden of forced positivity. It's a radical acceptance of our humanity, a profound trust in a love that is so vast, so encompassing, that it can hold our sorrow as easily as it can hold our joy. We are about to embark on a journey into this truth, a journey that will lead us to understand that our deepest moments of need can become conduits for the most profound divine connection, and that we are loved, unconditionally, precisely because we are human, in all our beautiful, imperfect complexity. The notion that God's love is tied to our emotional state is a subtle but pervasive distortion. It suggests a transactional relationship, where our perceived spiritual buoyancy earns us divine favor. However, the essence of divine affection is not about earning approval through a performance of perpetual cheerfulness. Instead, it's about an inherent, unearned acceptance that predates our awareness of it. Consider the inherent worth of a single wildflower. Does its value diminish if it's battered by a storm or drooping under the midday sun? No, its beauty and its existence are intrinsic, independent of its immediate condition. Similarly, our value in the eyes of the divine is not calibrated by our capacity for outward joy. This perspective shifts the focus from self-management of emotions to a recognition of an ever-present, unconditional regard that envelopes us regardless of our internal weather patterns. Furthermore, this unconditional love doesn't negate the reality of our struggles, rather, it provides a stable anchor within them. When we feel the sting of disappointment, the weight of anxiety, or the dull ache of loneliness, it's natural to question our standing. Yet, divine love is not a fair-weather friend. It is present in the tempest as much as in the calm. Think of a deep ocean current. It flows steadily beneath the choppy surface waves, its power and presence undiminished by the turbulence above. This inner current of divine love remains constant, unaffected by the fleeting emotions that buffet us. It's an invitation to understand that our moments of perceived spiritual emptiness are not indications of a withdrawn God, but rather opportunities to experience the depth of a love that can hold our deepest pain without wavering. Building on this, consider the profound difference between seeking happiness as a prerequisite for love and recognizing happiness as a potential byproduct of a secure connection. When we believe we must be happy to be loved, we engage in a constant, often exhausting, effort to manufacture positive emotions. Conversely, when we understand that we are loved regardless of our emotional state, we can relax into that truth. This liberation allows for a more authentic engagement with our feelings. Instead of suppressing sadness or anxiety, we can acknowledge them, understanding that they are transient human experiences, not indicators of our spiritual deficiency. This acceptance, paradoxically, often paves the way for a more genuine and sustainable form of inner peace, one that doesn't depend on the absence of difficulty. Another crucial layer is recognizing that our perception of God's love can be profoundly shaped by our own internal narratives and past experiences. If we've encountered conditional love in human relationships, we may unconsciously project that onto our understanding of the divine. This script challenges that projection. It asks us to consider the possibility of a love that is fundamentally different from the conditional acceptance we might have known. It's about cultivating an inner awareness that can discern this unconditional embrace, even when our minds are clouded by doubt or distress. This isn't about ignoring our feelings, but about recontextualizing them within a framework of unwavering divine affection, allowing us to see our struggles not as barriers to love, but as part of the very landscape where that love is most powerfully present. Reflecting on this unfolding awareness, we begin to perceive a profound shift in perspective, a gentle recalibration of our inner compass. It's as if the subtle whispers of inadequacy, the ingrained belief that we must present a certain polished exterior to be truly seen and cherished, are gradually giving way to a more resonant truth. This deeper understanding doesn't erase the complexities of human experience, rather, it offers a new lens through which to view them. The journey inward, often marked by both light and shadow, is not a testament to our flaws but a testament to our inherent resilience and our deep-seated capacity for connection. As we move through the varied landscapes of our inner world, we discover that the very challenges that might have once felt like barriers to divine regard are, in fact, fertile ground for a more authentic and profound encounter. In light of these insights, the path forward becomes clearer, not as a rigid set of rules, but as an organic unfolding of presence. The energies we've explored, those quiet forces that shape our awareness and infuse our daily lives, are not external mandates but intrinsic qualities waiting to be recognized and embodied. They are the subtle yet powerful currents that can guide us toward a more integrated sense of self, a self that is at peace with its own becoming. This process is akin to a gardener tending to a delicate bloom. It requires patience, gentle attention, and a deep trust in the natural rhythms of growth, understanding that flourishing happens in its own time and in its own way, often in response to the very conditions that might seem less than ideal. Drawing these strands together, we see how the practice of conscious living emerges not as another task to master, but as a natural extension of this awakened understanding. It's about infusing our ordinary moments with extraordinary attention, recognizing that the sacred is not found in distant realms but woven into the very fabric of our present reality. This mindful engagement allows us to navigate the inevitable currents of life with greater equanimity, transforming perceived limitations into opportunities for deeper wisdom and expanded compassion. It's about learning to dance with the flow, rather than resisting the tide, and in that surrender, finding a profound sense of freedom and purpose that permeates every aspect of our being. As we pivot towards the final reflection, we carry with us the quiet assurance that this inner work is not about achieving perfection, but about embracing the fullness of who we are, in this moment, with an open and loving heart. The profound truth we've explored together is not a destination to arrive at, but a gentle unfolding, a continuous invitation to embrace the totality of our being. It is the quiet realization that the divine reservoir of love is not contingent on the brightness of our countenance or the absence of struggle in our lives. This is not a permission slip for despair, but a liberation from the exhausting pretense of perpetual joy. It is the profound understanding that the very essence of our humanity, with all its intricate emotional landscapes, its moments of doubt, its quiet sorrows and its bursts of elation, is not a barrier to divine regard, but the very ground upon which that love is most deeply experienced. The grace that sustains us does not require a polished performance, it flows freely, an unyielding current that meets us precisely where we are, in the midst of our most vulnerable moments. Consider this: the divine does not wait for our smiles to initiate its affection, its love is the very atmosphere we breathe, the silent affirmation that underpins our existence. When the world feels heavy, when the inner landscape is clouded, it is in these very moments that we are invited to lean into this unshakable truth. This is not about denying our feelings, but about recontextualizing them within the boundless embrace of a love that sees beyond the superficial, that cherishes the raw, authentic core of who we are. Our struggles, our moments of quiet contemplation, even our deepest griefs, are not evidence of a fractured connection, but rather the very pathways through which we can discover the profound depth and unwavering constancy of divine presence. It is in the quiet spaces, in the moments when the usual affirmations of happiness elude us, that we can truly attune ourselves to this ever-present, unconditional love. The implication of this understanding is a radical freedom, a freedom from the tyranny of forced positivity, a freedom to be authentically ourselves in the presence of the sacred. It is the liberation to acknowledge our weariness, our doubts, our pain, without the fear of diminishing our worth or severing our connection. Instead, these very experiences become opportunities to deepen our trust, to experience the solace that comes from being fully seen and fully loved, exactly as we are. This is the heart of spiritual maturity, not the absence of challenges, but the unwavering conviction that we are held, cherished, and supported through every facet of our human journey. The true practice begins now, in the quiet acceptance of this profound, unconditional embrace, allowing it to permeate every corner of our being and illuminate our path forward with enduring peace and unwavering grace.